mask? I'm home alone.
Good morning. I'm George Latimer, Westchester County Executive. We're in the 11 o'clock hour, and this is our weekday morning COVID conversation. Each day, myself or Ken Jenkins, our Deputy County Executive, we're having a very casual conversation with somebody either inside or outside of Westchester County government to talk about how this pandemic and the related issues are affecting us. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about the critical role that parks play within our community. And interestingly enough, because as the governor had put into place a variety of executive orders and shut down, large swaths of the state operation in the private sector and the public sector, he left to the discretion of local officials, in this case as a county executive, the ability to open or close our various parks, recreational facilities. So we're going to talk a little bit about those facilities and what role they play and some of the decisions we've made up to now with Joe Stout. And Joe is a parks professional, park recreational professional for many years. He served as commissioner of our Parks Recreation Department, and now he is the head of the Westchester Parks Foundation. Joe, thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me. It's good to be here.
So you've been involved, obviously, in lots of different areas of public policy. You served on the Harrison Town Board at one point in your life. But in this particular setting, this is what you've done for a long period of your life. Aside from the fact that people generally have a good vibe about parks, when they think about parks, they think about it in a positive way as opposed to the way they think about sewer treatment or the police enforcing the laws. How do you think the parks represent themselves as important to the mental and the physical health of the community?
So I think parks are kind of like the water supply, right? People always think that it's going to be there. And they don't realize how real essential parks are and open spaces are to them until there's either they can't get to them or there's something that happens and it demonstrates how valuable parks are. This kind of brought it to the forefront. County parks are really the only facilities in the county from an open space and park standpoint that stayed open. I don't know of a local municipal facility that stayed open until just recently. County parks always stayed open. I think even the state parks in our county closed. And I commend you and your administration and really the folks that work for PRC that went out there every day and kept them open and safe for folks to use, because it was really the only kind of normalcy we had for a month, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, until stuff started to really slowly open again. So I sometimes parks are categorized as nice to haves, but when you calculate all the benefits of environmental benefits, of economic benefits, of social benefits, of mental health benefits for people, they're really and the green infrastructure they provide to help with climate change, they're really an essential part of what makes Westchester Westchester. I remember hearing you when you first became county executive. Actually, you might have still been a state senator when you would say you would always think about Westchester when you came into the county airport and how green it is, and that took a lot of forethought from folks who sat in your chair and sat in, the Parks Commissioner's chair 100 years ago to set aside those spaces that today would probably be developed because the land is just so valuable.
Well, and Westchester really has benefited from, just as you said, the wisdom that's been expressed by many people over a long period of time. The diversity of what we have in terms of parks holdings are really impressive. Now, you have an encyclopedic knowledge of the parks. Just kind of walk through, from your past experience, some of the different types of facilities we have and why some of those facilities are unique in the way we have.
Sure. The county park system is like a small state park system. You can think about it. There's everything from just open space and land that has miles and miles and miles and miles of trails to really active parks like Tibbetts Brook Park or Saxon Woods that has a pool and soccer fields to it, to nature preserves, to the county center, to Playland Amusement Park. You can do the 6 golf courses, the huge county pools. I mean, you talk about people in my business in public parks and recreation, when they talk about a pool, there's no pools in Westchester County that are like the pools that the county has, right? The local municipal pools. Just the deep end at Saxon Woods Pool, just the deep end is as big as any municipal pool in the county. You know, and when you think about the hundreds of thousands of people that use the county parks, there's literally something for everybody here in the county park system. It really is like a small state park system.
When you deal with the workforce of Parks, Recreations, Conservation, PRC, the acronym, the workforce is called on to do so many diverse things because you have so many different facilities. Kind of just, give us a sense of what the manpower requirements are just every day, and the tasks that the PRC staff has to live up to on a regular.
I mean, and there's never enough hands to do all that work ever. There's things from just literally cleaning and making sure that they're safe and open, to booking reservations, to ensuring that the pools are filled, that the golf courses are cut, that that the amusement rides are available and open to use, that the beaches are clean, that there's lifeguards on duty, that there's interpretive programs at the nature centers. I mean, it's just a myriad of stuff, and the Parks Department staff does a fabulous job of keeping the parks and programs open. The big special events, July, unfortunately with the pandemic, some of those things have been curtailed this year, but in a normal year, you're talking about events that bring in 15, 18,000 people at a time. The ethnic festivals, at the Dam Playland on July 4th well, you live right there. It's crazy how many people go there and have a great time on the beach, at the pool and in the amusement park. That takes a lot of planning. It takes a lot of work. And we're proud from the Parks Foundation standpoint, we're proud that we were able to help with that with our volunteer program. I mean, over the last 5 years, our volunteers have donated about 30,000 hours worth of work. We take out 4 tons of trash. We do all kinds of graffiti removal. We have great sponsors that help us with that. Dale Industries and Entergy, and you were involved with last year with Xylem and GA Fleet sponsored the water chestnut removal at Tibbetts Lake. So for the first time in my memory, it looks like a lake again, as opposed to almost looked like a tobacco field. So there's never enough hands to do the work. And when I was commissioner, there were 100 more full-time people than there are now.
Right.
And you got more stuff to do. It's a daunting challenge. It really is. It's a lot of work, and they do a great job for a very reasonable price. When you look at what we all pay as taxpayers for the park services, it's somewhere it's like 14 cents a day, or it's really a bargain for what you get from your county park system.
Well, and the manpower that goes into this, men and women, of course, has to be complemented by capital resources, the money necessary to maintain, to upgrade, and a lot of the facilities that we have, because they get so much attendance, go through heavier wear and tear. Tell me a little bit about that infrastructure challenge that you see in our parks.
Well, one of the key points that the foundation has been talking about for last 7 or 8 years is the backlog of capital projects that need to be accomplished in the park system. I mean, last time we talked about it, it's somewhere near $400 million, and I know you and your administration have made progress on a lot of those. The Sprain Bridge Pool is open again. The portions of the Bronx River Trailway between Scarsdale and Hartsdale is getting really close to being done. The refurbishment of the North and South Kent Trailway. Trailway is by far the most used facilities at the county.
Right.
Most used, most wanted. People want more of access to them, and those need to be taken care of. And that's not. Sometimes it's not just a maintenance issue. They have to be, capital money, and the Board of Legislators has to be a partner in that, because it's a borrowing issue, and people like to use their park facilities. And right now, if you go out there, it's a nice day. I bet you if we walked out on the trailway now, we'd see 1,000 people in an hour just walking, and then or riding their bikes or strolling, pushing their kids in strollers. That's and to make those connections and to do that work is an important function of the county government. That's, town of Harrison can't do that, right? We don't have the resources to do that. That's the county's role to play.
Well, I
Important
want to
stuff.
thank you, for the generosity of the Parks Foundation in numerous ways. Perhaps the most immediately recent decision was the decision to extend Bicycle Sunday weekends through the months of July and August. Normally, for those who may not be totally familiar with the program, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. on Sundays usually begins the first weekend of May. We skip over Memorial Day weekend. We run it through the end of June, take the break for July and August, come back in for September and October, and close the Bronx River Parkway down, usually from the county center down to Yonkers. And in that miles run where you're going through Scarsdale and part of Eastchester and so forth, mom and dads with the kids, couples bicycling, individuals, a couple of buddies. Some of them are more aggressive bicyclists than others. It's not a race. It's a recreational function. But this year, the Parks Foundation, along with Con Edison and the Moriarty family, through their great generosity, allowed us to be able to go through the weeks of July and August. And that's particularly helpful because, and we'll cover this in a second, there are certain park recreational functions we've been able to maintain during the pandemic, and there are some that we've had to cancel. And anything that we had to cancel means that much less to do. So by keeping the Bicycle Sundays open, that added something for us, even at a time where some other things had to detract. So obviously that's part of the fundraising and the energizing effort that the Parks Foundation does. And we're appreciative of that very much.
Thank you. And that's what we do. I mean, we can boil our mission down to three words, right? We advocate, we want people to use, and we want people to invest in the county park system. And that's both individuals and corporations. And we're happy to announce again, or to let you know that New York Presbyterian is joining us again as a sponsor for Bicycle Sundays to help.
Very good.
To help with the extended period.
Extended months. Well, that's great news, and we appreciate their partnership as well. Going through the pandemic, as I said at the outset of the show, the governor did not include municipally owned parks, county-owned parks, in his shutdown orders. So it fell to us to make decisions individually about what to do. And the first thing, obviously, is we kept open all of the trailways, the 6 nature preserves, because those were sources of outside enjoyment, but also people using those facilities individually, not in large groups of people. Going to a nature center is not like playing a game of touch football. It's not like rugby, not like, contact environment. And you don't usually have, 20 people together at a nature preserve or on a hiking trail. Then we had to make the decision on golf. And I'd felt and made the argument more than once publicly that golf was not a contact sport, and therefore it would not naturally spread the virus. And then in sequence, we opened up the 6 golf courses. And at the outset, people were pretty rough. Those that disagreed, said sometimes some awful things. They certainly spoke out of their own belief that, any recreation was a problem. But as it turned out, opening the golf courses did not prove to be a problem. We're a few weeks into Bicycle Sunday, 5-6 weeks now, and the spread continues to drop. Spread of the virus continues to drop. So that has not proven to be the flashpoint. We were then given the opportunity to open beaches. Now, we turned over Glen Island to the state to do testing, and we're not going to get it back this season in the same way that we turned the county center over to the state to create a backup hospital structure, and we're not going to get that back, through the bulk of this year. We hope to have all these things back at the end of the year. But in any event, so we still have 2 beaches, Playland and Croton Point Park, both of which got open. And there was nervousness about that. Well, you're going to go to the beach. How are you going to socially distance? Yada, yada, yada. Now we're 4 weeks into those 2 situations. And our next challenge is to open our pools, of which we intend to open 4 of them. I assume that because you're a big park aficionado, that you think we made the right decisions in doing those things. Unfortunately, we also had to make decisions such as canceling our ethnic festivals at Mexico Dam and Ridge Road Park, because we couldn't ensure the very same social distancing that we're confident we could do on Bicycle Sunday and golf courses. We didn't feel we could do it on that. And then as an outgrowth of that, while we have some plans for Kensico and Playland parking lots, we've had to cancel the big firework programs on July 3rd at Kensico and July 4th of play. But that absolutely breaks my heart.
Right, sure, me too.
Those kind of orders, you know.
Yeah, you know, and we've had this conversation privately, but I give you a lot of credit because you didn't make an emotional decision. You made a decision based on rational facts and what was going on in parks. And I've been out, and I know you have because I've seen you post on Facebook, and I've been to 3 or 4 golf courses in the last week, and I've been to I don't know how many parks. And I think part of what why the numbers keep going down in Westchester counties is I think people get it because the overwhelming number of folks that I see out in the park are staying away. They're wearing masks. You know, if you're laying out on the lawn at Kensco, they're not on top of everybody. They're being smart, right? They're doing what they're supposed to do. And I think folks have reacted to appreciating that those facilities have remained open. The golf courses as well. I 3 times I played, and I got lucky this. I got to play 3 times this last week in 3 different county courses. And the staff, the golfers, and even the concessionaires, they're all doing what they're supposed to do because I think they understand not only is it a public health issue but from a selfish reason, if they don't behave, it gets closed down, right? So
you lose the facility, right?
Yeah, right. So my eyes tell me that folks are doing what you asked them to do, what the governor has asked them to do. And I think that proves out in the fact that our numbers have continued to go down and as we've opened more stuff. So I know you have a challenge with pools. Pools are going to be a little bit of a different issue because you got a limited capacity and the county pools get slammed. When it's 90 degrees or 95 degrees and 100% humidity there, I mean, there's lines out the door already. Into the parking lots. So that's going to be a challenge for you. But again, kudos to you and the Parks Department staff for not saying, no, we're not going to do it. We're going to try, right? We're going to try and give people a place to go because, we're old enough to have lived through when there was no place to go and people were in the streets and there's a problem when you got nowhere to go, right? When people have no outlet to release tension, to do something other than just hang out on a street corner or and have idle time. That's not a good scenario for anybody. So I'm looking forward to the summer. I think you have a great team at Parks. We're not able to do Camp Morty this year at camp, but we're doing a virtual thing for those kids that are your kids, right? All the kids that come from social services or homeless or in child protective services. So the county is really stepped up from a recreation and park standpoint over the last 4 months or so, or even longer now, to make sure that we have what I consider to be one of the most valuable reasons why people live here, why businesses stay here, why businesses come here. And just on behalf of the foundation and as a user, thank you to all of you for doing that.
Well, let's make sure that we shout out for Kathy O'Connor, who's our current commissioner, your successor as head of Parks, Recreation, and Conservation. Peter Tartaglia, the first deputy commissioner of the department. And Kathy and Peter were in constant contact on the weekends. I'm driving by Nature Study Woods in New Rochelle, or I'm up at Trailside or something, and they're somewhere else, and we're reporting to each other as if we're fighting a multiple front war and try to determine, how it's going. And in some ways it feels like that because under normal circumstances, we'd be ecstatic that we have the kind of demand coming in. The golfers are paying and the people who come to Playland are paying to, park there. But, we have this strange world where we have to socially distance and not accept the full capacity that we're capable of satisfying in order to make sure that we're balanced in all of this stuff.
Right.
Joe, just in the last couple of minutes while we're having this casual conversation, give me a sense, if you had, the magic lamp and you could rub it, the genie comes out, grants you a wish, what would you wish in terms of the parks of Westchester County? What would we do if the genie could grant you your wish?
Wow. I didn't expect that question. To me, the things are the capital projects and that constant reinvestment in the park system that I know is important and vital. That needs to be done. And I think the biggest thing for me would be that the people who have now recognized that their county parks are such a valuable resource to them, people that can't go to their gyms or that they didn't know that they were there before, they had other outlets to go to, but they were closed down, but our county parks were open, that feeling stays, right? That we use the two hashtags. We use hashtag stand up for parks and hashtag parks are essential. That people kind of remember that and they advocate for them and they continue to use them and they'll help invest in them because there's never enough money, even in good times, right? There's never enough money to do everything that you want to do or everything as I as commissioner or as the executive director would want you to do. But there's a role for philanthropic efforts to do that from individuals, and whether that's a $20 donation or a $200,000 donation, or it's a local business, and there's lots of them that participate with us and the programs and the facilities that we help with your department. If that feeling could stay, parks were here for you when you really needed them. Let's be here for our park system when the park system needs it.
Joe, that's the best place to end on. We've been talking with Joe Stout, who is head of the Westchester Parks Foundation and a former commissioner of our Parks Recreation Conservation Committee department. Joe, thanks again for all your commitment over years to Westchester. We appreciate it very much.
Thank you.
And we thank you for tuning into today's COVID conversation. We'll be back at 2:00 in the city of Peekskill. I believe we'll have Mayor Andre Rainey with us as we continue our updates. We'll give you the statistics as we have them through today. We'll have a couple of announcements to make as well as we did yesterday. We'll repeat some of the ones. Beeline buses coming back to full service on Monday and a few other things, just to keep you posted on what's happening in your backyard here in Westchester County. So until 2:00, take care, stay safe, and if you have the time, we'll see you at 2:00. Have a good day.